when you said goodbye on that last day, did you stay connected to your fellow castmates?
Yeah, I'll tell you how connected we are. We have dinner at least once a year, if we can.
Really?
We're in touch all the time by email. And I have a podcast called Clear and Vivid, which is about communicating and relating. And I learned things when we did MASH about relating as a person and as an actor.
What did you learn?
Well, we didn't do what a lot of actors do between shots, where go over the lines maybe a little bit and then disappear into the dressing room while they light the set or waiting for your next scene. We sat in a circle of chairs and made fun of each other for hours at a time.
Did you really?
Yeah, and just laughed.
That's great.
Played word games, come up with stupid questions, polls, taking a poll. What's your favorite ethnic food?
Oh, is that funny?
You know.
So anybody who didn't fit into that couldn't stay in the cast, right? You have to either be a part of the circle or...
People gravitated to it because it was so much fun. But what would happen was, and why it was an important acting lesson for me, was that connection that we established sitting in the chairs as people, as not as actors, not in terms of the scene. We would go over the lines a little bit, but that wasn't the main thing that was valuable to us. The main thing was this contact, person to person.
Right, the relationship.
Reading each other's faces, being in the same moment together. When they called us to the set, to the part of the stage where that they'd been doing the lighting on, we got there connected already.
Right.
And sometimes we'd keep the connection going until the first line of dialogue, which looked like we weren't disciplined.
But you were.
But it was a deeper kind of discipline.
Right. That is really interesting. And have you brought that quality into your other work?
Yeah, whenever I do a play, I try to see if I can get the other actors to sit around for an hour before every performance.
Really? And are they receptive to that, or?
Once they do it, they realize how much fun it is to do, and then how valuable it is to the performance. We did it especially on the play called Art. It's only a three character play. And if anybody was late for the hour of getting together, they'd apologize and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I missed the important part of the day." You know, the 2 shows, in days we did 2 shows, we did that before each show. So
wow.
I was telling you about how we stuck together on MASH. I did an episode of the podcast where we connected with all the remaining members of the cast.
Did you? How was that?
There was so much laughing and kidding. It was just like we were sitting around in the chairs again. I see so many posts on Twitter where people are glad to see we're still friends. It's like it's like they're living the show through us.
Because you're their family. You are the family of everybody.
Some strange,
right.
Some strange way.
People feel connected to you, and they want to see that friendship, right? They long for that.
Well, we all
time.
kind of. That's why one of the reasons why I think people listen to this podcast, because I think we have, probably all of us, a desire and a kind of a inherited desire to make contact with other people, and yet we have this tendency toward anonymity. You know, as soon as we got cars, we moved away from our families.
Isn't that interesting? And as soon as we got our phones, we stopped talking.
We stopped talking to anybody.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. And yet we are hungry for contact.
We are. That's why people are listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
Right? What is your podcast called, so everybody can...
It's called Clear and Vivid with Alan Alda. That's me.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Oh, I was so confused for that one moment, and then